Welcome back everyone, let me introduce you my knight's build. You will see crazy figures on Drogon during that video, you will see everything in detail and you will understand a few things about the stats during that video, so stay until the end. But right before getting into the content, let me remind you that during the month of June you can receive some free rewards by supporting your favorite content creator. Basically, 3 copper pouches, 2 ruin runners. I already received the coupons and I sent more than 1,000 already, and you have 50 recharge tickets that are coming soon and 8 activity support chests. So this is not a lot, but this is more than nothing, right? The only thing you need to do is to open one of my videos with my beautiful face right here and go in the description. You have that link over there. Click on that link to open the page. You don't need to spend anything. The only thing you need to do is to click on support here. To receive your rewards in game, very easy. I'm gonna push myself to the left. You have that button here. When you click on your account, you go to my page. You will get redirected to that page here. Click on supporter and then scroll down and you will have your coupon here. Basically, just copy the code you have here, then open the game and go to your settings here, information, coupon, and paste the code here. After doing that, you will receive the reward in your in-game mail. Thank you so much to everyone who is supporting me. Alright, so I am at the trainer, let's start the practice. Just gonna open firstly with the slashes directly to see the damage I can have without a crit. It is not working at all, and if I open the stats of my character, you can see what I have now. I don't have more than 22% crit rate. The thing is that with that character, unfortunately, I don't have any relic usable with the second passive here, as I have on my assassin here. It's increasing my crit rate and crit damage when the target has some bloodburst. Here, the same, but with the destruction. And I have the Dark Sister, which is the best to use on the knight, but it's level 0, so I am not benefiting from the crit rate and crit damage increase. Alright, that time, let's use the Ignite to see the damage I have, to compare that. This is almost the same and still no crit at all because I don't have any increased rate and crit damage. But with the knight, you have the boost morale and generally I'm opening with that, so I'm getting more crit rate and crit damage, and after that, as you can see, I have way more damage than with the Ignite. And if I check my stats, I'm getting to 35% crit rate and 221% crit damage. Okay, for the next test, let's just do 5 hits on the target, so I'm getting my crit rate and crit damage. I need to avoid being hit, and if I check my stats again, that time I'm getting the bonus given by the champion set, so without using any skill at all, I am close to the max crit rate and max crit damage here. Alright, for the next test, I'm gonna use the boost morale first, then execute one full combo, and use the slashes. And now I had great damage, because if I show you the stats of my character, I'm at the maximum crit rate and crit damage I can have. But in fact, this is a bit overkill, because I am normally way above that. Basically, let's do some simple math. Here I have a 52.6% crit rate and 239.5% crit damage when I'm using only the 5 hits on the target with the champion set. When I use boost morale thanks to advancement +2, I'm getting plus 12.5% crit rate, so I am normally 4% above the maximum and 22.5% crit damage for 12 seconds. So I am wasting 10% crit damage, something like that. But now there is another issue. The thing is that I am using that active relic here, increasing my crit damage by 41.7% when I am using the skill. So I won't take advantage of that skill, in fact. Basically, if I use everything I showed you before plus that skill, my crit damage will overflow by something around 60%, which is huge. I'm still having great damage on the knight, but I have a crazy overflow on the crit damage when I'm using absolutely everything. But the fact is that you have 2 minutes of cooldown when you are using the artifact skill, so you are not getting above all the time, alright? And in very end game, if your goal is to deal a lot of damage on the bosses here, you want to execute your attacks very fast. So generally you are not always casting the boost morale or the other things. The relic, of course, you are casting that, but so you won't overflow the crit damage because you won't have time to execute everything if your goal is to speedrun that. Generally, you are using the boost morale and the slash and that's all. But let's retry with all my skills to see how much damage I have. I'm gonna also use one projectile to increase my attack with the King Gaze, so generally I'm doing that, one combo. Then I'm using one projectile, the Ignite, the Artifact, and the Slash. 400k per hit. So the final result might be very hard, but you need a lot of time to cast absolutely everything on a boss, right? Okay guys, so now it is time for me to show you the build I have on the knight. Let me first talk about the equipment. This is what I'm currently running on it. I have 5 pieces of champion set and 1 piece of savant set. Because before the global release, when we were getting the special item on a ferocious beast, we didn't have the choice of the weapon or gear we wanted to have. So we were forced to get a savant set. And I had that crossbow, 384 attack power, this is maxed out, and look at what I have here. Attack power 160, damage increase rate of 4.5%, and another attack power 100. This is insane. For a tier 4 legendary, this is just insane. But unfortunately, the skill here is useless. I'm not using the pommel strike. For the main weapon, I have Armed Conflict +2 on Ignite weapon, increasing my attack power by 8.8% for 20 seconds when I'm casting the skill. You don't have any limitation on the attack power, so the more you can have through everything in the game, the better. Crit damage +4% and active skill damage 4.5%, penetrating power 30. On the rest, I have a blue helmet with a slashes plus, max roll here, but I don't care, I just want that for the slashes here. On the chest, another blue piece, but here I have boost morale plus. My goal, as you can see here, is to have only legendary weapons to increase my damage, and then for the defense, I don't care because there are not many threats in the game at the moment. So the faster you kill the enemies, the better in my opinion. On the gloves, I have a tier 4 purple with Ignite weapon plus, very nice one, and on the boots I have a tier 4 purple boots, advancement +2 to boost morale, increasing my crit rate and crit damage. I got 14 levels on the champion set here, so I can increase my attack power by 5.4% per stack up to 5 times, and I'm getting more crit rate and crit damage after 5 hits. So as I told you, I have a big overflow in crit damage and a bit in crit rate, but I don't care because I'm not using my artifact all the time, and just by using 5 hits in any content, I'm getting close to the max so I can be optimal everywhere. So then it's up to you. I know some people that are using 3 pieces of champion set and 3 pieces of savant. It is up to you to decide what you prefer. On the set research, I am using the Brute set to increase my damage. For my jewels, I'm using this one to increase my crit damage by 6%, and the substats are wild. Damage increase +2.3%, light attack speed increase +3.3%, damage dealt on bosses increase by 11%, that is insane, attack power increase 3%. By the way, I have an overflow on the light attack speed increase because you have the detail when you check here in the character information, you have all stats, and you can see the max stats here you can reach on the crit rate, crit damage, rage gain, rage consumption decrease, and you have the same for the light attack speed. Max is 30%, and it is yellow because I suppose that I am above of the limitation here, so it is useless for me in my opinion to have that on the sub effect here. On the earrings, I have only defensive stat, but this one is providing some extra active skill damage, 6% more, and this one is giving to me some strike combo damage. On the rings, I have twice a crit rate, 4% each, and on the substats, damage increased on bosses +4.5%, penetrating power 30, damage dealt on bosses +2.4%, damage increase +2.8%. On the second ring, strike combo damage +5.1%, gain rage when using ranged attack, attack power +2.7%, and crit damage +1.4%. This is not very optimal to use the same ring here. I would rather recommend to use 1 crit rate plus 1 active skill damage, or 1 crit plus 1 crit damage, or 1 crit damage plus 1 active skill damage. Because you need the same copies if you want to recast, so it means basically that you won't be able to upgrade them to the maximum, or you will need way more time than with the others. For the relics, I'm using the double axes here because it's increasing by a lot my attack power, my crit damage, base crit damage, so I can hit harder all the time without using any buffs, so this is very important to me. As I said, even if I overflow the damage, the crit damage at the end, when casting the skill, I'm still getting plus a 41.7% attack power, I'm getting the cooldown reduction if I have some in cooldown, and I'm getting 200 rage. So it is still the best to use, even if I overstack my crit damage. On the passive, at the moment, I'm using the Rhaegar's Ruby. I have more attack power and damage increase forever just by equipping the artifact, alright? If you don't have the legendary artifacts, before I was using this one because you have some damage increase, crit rate and crit damage increase when you're in fighting spirit stance. When you have the boost morale skill plus, you can basically enter the fighting spirit directly, so you would get these effects here. And you would get more rage by entering the fighting spirit, so just cast the boost morale, you get 25 extra rage, and you can have your extra damage. So that is the best one to use if you don't have the legendary. And for the active artifact, this one is by far the best. More attack power and more attack power with the skill and some lifesteal. Very nice, especially beyond the wall. On the trait tree, I am not sure about what I am running here, but as I told you, I am more efficient over time in all content, alright? Without the need of casting the artifact all the time. You have 2 minutes of cooldown, so in my opinion, this is what I love to use, alright? So I have a lot of crit damage here, there, and there. A lot of boss damage, attack power 10 on 10 everywhere as well. Here, I'm using this one to increase my crit rate and crit damage forever. Here I have this one to increase one more time my crit damage, crit rate, but maybe this one I could switch to use this one instead. So I would have even more damage with the skills. I'm not sure, maybe I will jump on this one instead of this one. I just need to continue trying things. And here I have King Gaze, so when I use a projectile, I increase my attack power by 15% for 10 seconds, and I refill my rage. It is not written here, but it is working. You are getting close to 60 rage when you are using a projectile, thanks to that trait tree here. I don't care about the rest, I'm never parrying, I am just dodging the attacks and I'm using my skills to kill enemies very fast. Now let's talk quickly about the skills. Boost morale, I have boost morale plus. When you have that skill here, you decrease the defense of the target by 30%. This is the best debuff you can have in the game, and this is on the knight. So that class is very important for every content in game. And you will see on Drogon, by the way, that with that class you can release a crazy damage as well, alright? So boost morale plus, a 30% defense decrease on the target for 12 seconds, and you enter directly the fighting spirit, so you have more damage. Minus 20% rage consumption, and plus 25% active skill damage when in fighting spirit. If you don't have the boost morale plus, the only way to enter the fighting spirit stance is to use your basic attack. With the strike combos, you have these. You can put some stacks of valor on the target to enter the fighting spirits at 6 stacks. You have it here as well. You can stack it faster if you're using that skill and that one here. But the fact is that when you don't have boost morale plus, you are wasting some potential on the combos here. If you take this one and this one here, you will have less damage. So boost morale plus is the most important skill in my opinion on the knight. Advancement plus 2 if you want to have some more crit rate, crit damage, but this is not necessary because I showed you that I have an overflow. In my opinion, it would be better to have the ignite strike plus on the ignite weapon to increase your damage dealt on burned enemies. I need to work on that in the future to increase my damage. On conflicts and ignite strike, the best way to increase the damage of the knight. Ignite weapon plus for the duration increased and the AoE attack, but this is not necessary. Slashes plus is mandatory here. You don't care about the injury. You can take that if you want to deal a bit more damage over time. It could work. Blazing Rage, I don't care about that. And Slashes plus, yeah, you are releasing more damage with that just by having the plus. And of course, you need to put all your levels into that skill only to increase the coefficient here and release more damage with the skill. So what I recommend exactly at least is to have a boost morale plus, Slashes plus, igniting strike to increase your damage on burned enemies and on conflict. At least +1 everywhere. And then if you can have ignite weapon plus for the AoE attack and the increased duration on the burn, or Advancement +2, this would be perfect. On the basic combos, I prefer running the strike combo 2. It takes a bit more time than a combo 1 to execute, but at the end, thanks to that trait here, you have way more damage on the last hit. You can release crazy damage with that. This one to put some burns on the enemies and deal more damage. And here, I don't know why I'm using this one. This is a mistake. I need to take this one to increase my strike combo 2 damage. Alright guys, so now let me show you the full stats of my character, just in case I forgot to show that on my other characters. So you can see the hidden stats, such as the damage increase rate, which is very important, 83.7% at the base, this is very nice, 42% damage increase on bosses, active skill damage plus 13.7%, you have my light attack damage and strike combo damage here, and then you have my defensive stats, and that is all. So it's time to try the build on Drogon, but I can see here a crazy amount of assassins. You have only assassins everywhere. We are only 2 knights. 2 more are coming. And that is all. You have mostly assassins. So I might want to change the channel, otherwise I won't be able to try my build. Alright, so as always, let's drink a potion here to increase my damage on beasts. 30 seconds before the boss comes. So here, I will open with the Ignite first, because with the boost morale, I have the boost morale, plus I can decrease the defense of the boss by 30%. So I'm gonna use the Ignite right before the boss arrives. And then the double axis will execute my combo, and we will see that, alright? Alright. Projectile, and normally, look at the damage I had. 700,000 twice plus 800,000. That was absolutely insane. More than 2 million damage. That was wild. And I told you that I had an overflow in crit damage with that build. Oh my goodness, that was so high. Wasn't expecting to have so much damage here. 70% of the damage with the knight. That was amazing. Alright guys, so that was all for the video. Let me know what did you think about all of these. Have a really nice day, take care, and see you on the next video. That was Octar, bye bye.